One humid Saturday, Linda, the self-proclaimed dictator of our HOA, marched at my driveway clutching a neon green clipboard like it was a sacred tablet without so much as a hello. She declared, "My daughter's wedding is next weekend, and her guests will use your pool for the reception." Her tone was final, her sunglasses perched like a crown. I blinked, expecting a punchline. But Linda was deadly serious. She insisted our HOA share facilities included my private fenced-in, meticulously maintained backyard pool, a pool I'd spent thousands renovating. Before I could protest, she tapped her clipboard and said, "My cousin's kid will set up towels and drinks, keep the gate unlocked." Then she strutted off, heels clicking like she just annexed my property. I stood frozen, my border collie buddy cocking his head in confusion. Had I imagined that no Linda's perfume still lingered? I peer at my pool, crystal blue, a labor of love after months of scrubbing and sealing. Now it was apparently a public splash zone for a stranger's wedding. I laughed, not from amusement, but from sheer disbelief. Linda assumed I comply, that her HOA badge gave her dominion over my land. She didn't know me at all. I wasn't against weddings. I didn't even know Linda's daughter, Emily, or her groom, but this wasn't about celebration, it was about entitlement. Linda hadn't asked, she demanded, as if my pool was her Pinterest playground. I texted my neighbor Tom, whose yard was hosting the wedding, to check her story. His reply, "Wait, what?" Linda said, "You offered the pool that sealed it." She wasn't just entitled, she was lying. That night, sipping iced tea on my patio, a wild idea sparked. In my pantry sat 200 boxes of cherry Jello, a clearance sale impulse buy for a party that never happened. Now they had a purpose, a gloriously petty, wobbly middle finger to Linda's arrogance, Googling how much gelatin to fill a 20,000 gallon pool yielded absurd numbers, but I didn't need it solid, just thick enough to ruin swimming. The shallow end would be my canvas. I hit the hardware store buying buckets and industrial pots. The cashier raised an eyebrow as I unloaded my Jello. "Whole big party," I grinned. He chuckled. Clueless for days, I worked covertly, boiling water at midnight, mixing powder and pouring into the shallow end. Buddy watched, judgmental but loyal, as I stirred with a painter's paddle by day. For the shallow end was a glossy red sea, useless for swimming. I tossed a tennis ball, it bounced perfect. I set up cameras, hung a laminated sign, "Caution, dessert experiment in progress," and waited. Wedding day dawned. Chaotic trucks beeped, chairs clattered, and Linda's voice screeched like a megaphone from my patio. Coffee in hand, I watched her in a garish peach suit barking at caterers and relatives. Guests soon noticed my pool peeking through fence slats, snapping photos. "Is that Jello?" one gasped. So quirky. Quirky was my goal, but I'd take it. Then Linda's cousin's kid, Sarah, arrived with 2 teens toting towels and a cooler. They ignored my sign, barging in. Sarah groaned at the Jello. "This is still here." A boy poked it with his sandal. Laughing, I stepped out, Buddy growling. Softly, "Lost?" I asked. Sarah mumbled. "Linda said we could chill here." I pointed to the Jello. "Plenty of chill, but diving's risky unless you want a concussion." They fled, Sarah rolling her eyes. Half an hour later, Linda stormed in, face as red as my Jello. "You think this is funny? You ruined Emily's wedding," she shrieked, accusing me of vandalism. "This is culinary art," I said. "Coolly, my pool, my land. You assumed otherwise." Her jaw flapped like a fish. "Guess can grab spoons. I've got whipped cream." She choked out threats, HOA complaints, lawsuits, and stomped off, knocking over a flamingo float. By noon, the wedding was a circus, and my pool was the star. Kids peeked through my gate. A bridesmaid touched the Jello, giggling. "It's like jam." She snapped a selfie, calling it Linda's Kool-Aid fiasco. Then a tipsy groomsman egged on for $50 belly flopped into Jello. He didn't sink, he bounced, sliding like a pancake. Guests roared, phones recording. Even Emily, watching from Tom's deck, laughed. Linda emerged, shrieking about lawsuits and gelatin-related injuries. The groomsman, towel slung over his shoulder, yelled, "Best wedding ever." I leaned in. "You're welcome, Linda. That guy made your reception viral." Phones captured every angle, and hashtags like Linda's Jello pool trended locally. The HOA Facebook page ignited with memes. Linda wielding a spoon, caption, "Taste justice." She retreated indoors, likely Rajit typing complaints, while her party fizzled into Awkward dances and slurred speeches. Guests kept sneaking to my fence, laughing at the jiggling red mass-eyed. Hijacked her wedding without leaving my yard the next morning. The neighborhood. Buzz teens biked by parents casually. Strolled past chuckling old Mrs. Carter. Leaning on her cane, grinned Jello beat. Linda never thought I'd see it, but trouble loomed. HOA President Mike. Usually Linda's puppet knocked looking. Haggard Karens pushing complaint he. Side sabotage, humiliation, unsafe. Environment I smirked for making desert. My own pool he admitted the board was. Just placating her she's threatening. Lawsuits press, even her cousin is shady. Paralegal I handed in my evidence. Videos, receipts, timestamps, let her try. Explaining to a judge why I protected my property. Mike laughed, you're a weird genius. By noon the HOA page was a roast fest. Someone posted a video. Montage Linda screams, the groomsmen's flop set to circus music. Linda's passengers resurfaced finding Halloween decorations, banning wind chimes for spiritual disruption. Even board members jabbed, private property isn't Linda's vision board. That night Emily and her groom Jake appeared at my door exhausted, but grateful. Thanks for saving our wedding. Emily said they hadn't known Linda's pool plan she'd hijacked their day, inviting strangers, booking tacky vendors. That Jello flop, Jake grinned. Made Grandma laugh so hard she forgot her hip pain. We talked for hours. Emily admitted cry in the bathroom, but my pool was her only joy. Linda's banned from our next wedding, she joked, leaving with a smile. Linda went nuclear. She distributed flyers accusing me of weaponizing dessert, ran it at the grocery store too. Ban Jello and pitch a news story that flopped for being too absurd. She reported my pool for code violations, but the inspector, chuckling from the viral video, found no issues. More like a giant snack, he said, snapping a photo. Linda, watching from her porch, slammed her door so hard a refill. The HOA board, fed up, voted her out. You might have saved the neighborhood, a member whispered. My pool became a legend. Kids begged to see it. An artist photograph it as Linda's legacy. I turned down music video shoots, but let a teen cannonball for a TikTok, hosing him off as he laughed. Weeks later, a legal envelope arrived. Linda suing for emotional distress, defamation, and non-compliant conduct. Her claims are laughable. My Jello lured guest danger. Ruined wedding photos. My lawyer friend called it courtroom comedy. I counter with footage of Sarah's trespass. My sign and a note, no permission given. Another inspector dismissed Linda's health hazard claim, joking about ants. The HOA added rules against unauthorized property use, including a Jello clause. Winking at my stunt, Linda faded her house dark, email silent. Her reputation, once propped by roses and fear, was a punchline. I leaned into the fame. Neighbors dubbed my pool Jiggle Fest, and I hosted annual parties, pouring new Jello colors, lime purple, lit by underwater lights. Emily and Jake featured on the YouTube channel. Their video racking up views, comments cheered me, roasted Linda, and shared Karen stories. Months later, a for sale sign sprouted at Linda's house. She slunk to an HOA free development, no fanfare. I didn't gloat. I sipped lemonade by my glowing green pool buddy's tail wagging. I hadn't sought heroism, just my backyard. But sometimes a petty Stan laser gelatin becomes legend. Jiggle Fest grew a quirky rebellion against control. Each year neighbors brought spoons, kids poked the Jello, and we laughed free from Linda's shadow. Emily sent a card. You turned our worst day into our best. Shimmered, a wobbly testament to standing firm in a world of Lindy's a little Jello, just as sweet, absurd, unshakable.